this is how you overclock and undervolt. It's basically 20 FPS more. 20 FPS more. So yeah, I transfer you the knowledge on how to undervolt and overclock because I do a lot of nonsense and a lot of complication and oh my god, you need to do this and it's very simple. It's very simple. Just go baby steps, slow, and start building, building, building. If you find it here, if you crash it, you know the limits. Go back again and try to understand the draw versus temperatures versus clock and FPS gains, because imagine, oh, but I can push it really a little bit. It's not 100% stable, but I win like 3 FPS or 2 FPS. For me, it's not worth it. I want it 100% stable, and I prefer to lose those 2 3 FPS. Okay, so it's up to you, up to your card. As you can see, you can win free performance with any restrictions on the temperature and the frequency and what's usage, you know. So because you will not pay the bill at the end of the month. See, 118, 128, 10 FPS, 10 FPS, 234 watts. See the difference? 6 FPS, 6 7 FPS. Again, the temperature is lower, the drop power is lower, and the FPS are still increasing. See how you undervolt and underclock and overclock. You just have to gain. I wouldn't not overclock, to be honest, and undervolt. Hello, yellow guys, welcome once more to Gaming Insiders. Yes. Today we are going to tackle the Nvidia GeForce RTX 5080. I managed to gain up to 10-20% more FPS in some games, okay? Not every game like 20%, okay? It's an average, okay? And also, for me, the surprising part is the temperatures barely moved and the power draw didn't explode either. So for me, that raised the big question: are we leaving free performance on the table by running the RTX 5080 at stock settings? Today I'm going to test exactly that using my system with a CPU AMD Ryzen 7 9800 X3D and 32 gigabytes of DR5 Corsair RAM, 6000 mega transfers for to CL30, okay, and we are going to find out how much performance, okay, we can actually gain and what it does to the temperatures and whether overclocking this GPU is actually worth it for you or not, because this is why you are here. And because if the gains are real, I mean, in my opinion, the downsides are small. This might be the easiest free performance upgrade you can get. Okay, so for me, let's get into it. Okay, so basically, before we pushing the clocks, okay, let's first just let me just also say that I'm running the latest drivers from Nvidia, okay, and Windows is optimized for gaming. And also let me say this before we jump in at the stock settings, you know, sorry, the RTX 5080 already delivers for me an excellent performance in modern AAA titles, okay, especially at 1440p or 4K Ultra, okay. I'm using a 3414 by 1440p monitor, okay. The big question is always the same with the high-end GPU, at least for me. I'm not sure if it's for everyone, at least for me it is are we removing everything that we can from what we paid for? And some people say some people say that modern GPUs are already pushed, okay, close to their limits from the factory. Others say manually overclocking barely gives real gains. So I will leave it up to you. I will show you how to do it. I will show you the results, and it's up to you decide at your own risk, and at it's simply up to you if you want to go ahead and do the same for yours or not. I will not do a BIOS flash yet, only if someone specifically asks me to do so, but that is also a possibility. Okay, personally, that I can tell you right off the bag that for me is not worth it. The BIOS, at least BIOS flash, for a more power draw, at least for mine model, didn't work very well in my opinion. Comparing it, I did gain some performance, but comparing it to the temperatures is not worth it for me. Okay, and the draw power, not worth it. So basically, personally, after running the tests, I do think it's worth it, but not with the BIOS flash, only with the normal overclock, okay? As long as the gains make sense compared to the temperature, increases, and power draw, okay? So if we can get, extra FPS without crazy temperatures, or a massive power spike, then that is essentially free performance, right? I would say. So in this like that, I would say, why wouldn't we overclock? Why not? Just why not? So in this video, and it's fast safe, okay? It's safe. You're not going to crash your GPU. So yeah, if instead of he surviving perhaps 30 years, it will survive 25. I'm not. Not sure about that last information, but come on, it doesn't make any freaking difference in my opinion. But okay, this is again my own opinion, my customer as a customer, and this is just my insight. If you want to take it with you. If not, it's all good as well. Okay, no hard feelings. So in this video, we are going to check exactly that. Okay, how much performance we gain, how temperatures change, and how much extra power the GPU pulls. Okay. So we are going to do some stress tests in a Heaven 3D Mark. Not sure if I'm going to use it or not. I'm still deciding, okay, but just keep in mind, and also we are going to use gamings, and for me that is the best way to overclock, is using and test it on the games. We are going to use Horizon Forbidden West, Cyberpunk 2077, Battlefield 6, Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, and the Red Dead Redemption 2, okay? For me, these are the games. Yes, I tried also in the different games and more games, but for me, for tests and for showing purposes, I will not try in any other game. You can do it, but the method is exactly the same for every game. So for me, it works much better, because don't forget, I can overclock much better on a stress test than on the game, versus the in game. So that's why I like to test bench. I like to use some stress testing like Evan or something like that, 3D Mark or whatever. But at the end of the day, for me, the real deal is within the game. Okay, for me that is the best, without a doubt. Okay, so let's see if it's worth it or not for you. Let's jump on how to do it first, and afterwards how to test it. Let's go. So what you will need to do first is download MSI Afterburner like this, as you can see here. Okay, you can click it here and download the final one, 4.6.6. You can download the beta, but why would you? So just go ahead, release this one. It's ready to go, and will pop up this window. Probably it could be not this specifically, but if you go here, 1 second, screenshot, bro. Where is it? Yeah, here. You can select whatever you want. I'm using MSI Mystic Afterburn skin by Drerex Design, but you can change it here, as you can see. 1 second. To the special one. See? Actually, this is quite nice, this one. I like it. Hmm. All right, so let's jump to the other one. Okay, Perfect. Afterwards, and after you are ready to go and 100% that will this is 100% working for you. Just make sure that you select begin recording now here. Okay. uh, unlock voltage control, unlock voltage monitoring, and just copy my settings. Once you are 100% that is working for you, that kind of overclock, you can click here, start with Windows, and voila, there you go, as simple as that. This is the tool that you are going to use to overclock your GPU. And now let's jump to the beginning of the test. All right, fellas, let's go then. Let's understand how to overclock your GPU. Let me just tell you right off the bat that you can do this for any RTX. So 5000 series or the other ones, I believe the 4000 series you can also do it, and the other ones, as long as you can overclock through MSI Afterburner, you should be good. Also for AMD, just keep in mind one thing: I'm not gonna uh, explain how to do that because actually AMD is much freaking easier in my opinion. But okay, we will check that afterwards because I will do a different video on AMD. I prefer to overclock on AMD card. I think it's just simply much easier and faster and better, to be honest. But okay, it's also doable 100% on this MSI Afterburner with an Nvidia card. So let's go. Don't forget that I'm losing more or less 10 to 20 frames per second here on Heaven because I'm also doing it and recording through OBS to get the camera rolling, to get my mic with a very good quality sound and everything, my setup, and as you can see here as well, my own screen. So just keep that in mind. So let's jump right into it. Okay, as you can see here, I'm here on heaven, sorry, heaven. All right, so I choose this frame just because it's a little bit more FPS than the usual frame, because if we are looking up, of course, is not a very good place to test it. So I think it's good. This is good, actually. It's pretty decent. Okay, so first of all, what you need to do is to understand your card's limit. And how are you going to do that? So the way you can do it is go 100 in the start, for example, like this. Okay, is not happening anything, right? Power draw 240, 53 degrees, 2800, and 124, 126 FPS. We can see already a small increase. But my point now is not checking how much we can push, but just to understand the limit of this card. We can go now 200, as you can see here, 130, 53 degrees, 243 watts, and almost 3000 megahertz. Okay, now we can do 300. Okay, and see, we are already reaching 3000, 54 degrees, 240, 250, 245, 130. Did you see that we didn't actually gain a lot of extra FPS. See, but anyways, now let's jump right into 400 and let's wait a little bit. Okay, now we are on the 3100, so it's much more frequency comparing it to the initially to the base GPU's frequency. Okay, 250 almost watts. Again, same 54, 1 degree more or less, and 133, 34, 31. Okay. Sometimes if you push it too much, you can see that you actually lose performance. Okay. So let's push it until it crashes so you can see just for the safety. 450. Okay, guys, see, we are back. 1 second. Yes, we are back. As you can see, we crashed. I knew it. And I inserted back to 430. As you can see, just keep in mind, for me, this most likely will not be stable here at 430. So I would go back at least 50 because we crashed at 450. So 400 for me at least would be the way to go. Don't forget as well that we are testing it with the camera on the same place. So meaning that if you, for example, run the benchmark, most likely you will crash or not. Also keep in mind that some GPUs might go higher on the frequency. So this doesn't mean that your GPU will do the same as mine. Probably will do more. Probably will do less. I don't know. Each GPU has their own limitations. So we already understood that 400, at least 3100 frequency, 3150 frequency would be more or less the max for this GPU. Also, I already tested before, and I know that doesn't go above 3200. But okay. Another thing that's why I don't like very much benchmarks and comparing it stress tests, sorry, and comparing those to the to other tests on the internet, it's because you never know the conditions where are they doing this under. So they might have the computer completely outside of the box. They might have an extreme something cooling the GPU, or I don't know. We don't know. We will never know. So not saying that they are not good. They are freaking good. But the thing is, we need to understand what it works for you, because no one will tell you, oh yeah, just insert these kind of settings and you will good to go. So you need to understand your GPU's limitations, and the best way to know that is how to know how to overclock, right? So for me, I think that is the ideal scenario. So let's forget now this for a second, the frequency, and let's go to the memory clock. I know that mine will not go back, not crash at 3000. Perhaps your will not go above 1500 frequency on the memory clock. Another thing that you need to take into consideration is that, again, every GPU has their own limitations, okay? And also, even if you can go to 3000 memory clock speed, don't for don't forget that you might have some artifacts, okay? And that is where you need to start looking at some artifacts on the computer. For me, I'm not seeing any artifacts at all. But just for you to understand, again, don't forget that you lose a lot of FPFs recording. So I would have a more or less 170, 160 here. Yes, believe me. And so let's just understand, we are running these at 53, 54 degrees, 53, 240 watts, 2700, but actually the FPS increased. Can you see? Do you want to see? Look at it. 125, 124. Let's put this back to the original. it decreased. So yes, you can gain 5 FPS, which is a lot just by increasing the memory. See here, see here. You can gain even more sometimes. Okay, so meaning that 5, see 130 exactly. See if we go back to the original one, see 120, 118, 119, 120. See again. See, just by increasing the memory clock. Okay, you are not increasing the draw power, you are not increasing the temperature, almost anything actually. For we were testing it here. Okay, see, and the frequency stays the same. Okay, so uh, why I don't use it at 3000? Because it doesn't work for all the games. Again, that's why that's why I mentioned that previously, because you can, yes, stress it and push your GPU much more to the limit versus when you are trying it actually on a actual game. So and it also differs game to game. So you can have, for example, an increase of 20 FPS on the Red Dead Redemption, or Battlefield 6, and and just a 10% or 15% increase on Cyberpunk. Okay, so this is just for you to understand what you need to take into consideration when overclocking. Now, if we go back to this, some cards are going to have the power limit a little bit above, like 105, 110, for example. Mine is a pellet and it's not the overclock version, so only goes to 100. Oh, so that sucks a lot comparing it to the overclock. No, it doesn't. It's not that big of a deal. But anyways, this is the only car that I had the opportunity to buy at the time. There were no other cars available, so I just take advantage of that and purchase it. So why didn't you wait for an Astral? Look, I wouldn't buy an Astral for like 3,000, 2,000 and something on a 5080s. Not gonna happen. So yeah, basically this is the power limit. Sometimes you can go above. If you can, go ahead. Also on the core voltage, you can also touch. So we are at 120 more or less. Let's see if we increase this. You don't gain that much uh, FPS. Okay, to be honest with you, and I mean, I wouldn't recommend actually, because you don't gain almost anything, which is something different for the AMD card. See, and that's why I love overclocking the AMD cards. I really love it, but yeah. So I wouldn't touch on it. Do it as you want. I don't like to touch on it. Okay, fun speed you can curve, but not here. Okay, I don't do curves for fun speed. Again, on the Nvidia, on the AMD one, I do it, but on the Nvidia, I don't do it. Okay, sorry. So I would leave it at 40 more or less, or 30. You can see that at 40, and you can see if you like the temperatures or not. If you think that they are too high, you can increase the fan speed. I don't think it's necessary to go above 50, to be honest. And after 50 starts to get a little bit loud. I mean, I'm using headphones. I'm not bothered by it, but anyways, I like to run it quite as much as possible. So if for some reason I'm without headphones, I like to not hear the fan running. So yeah, I would go max 50. Okay. So now, how do you undervolt? If you go to the curve editor, okay, here, curve editor. For example, I have 1000 volts here, and if we go, for example, to 995 volts, I would go For example, if you need to click on shift and click on your left side of the mouse, and go to almost 3000. Select the rest and go push it down like this, okay? And now, yes, okay, see, now you are undervolting this to that power, to that voltage. If you go here, if we go here, we can see that we will increase the frequency, okay? Oh, and again, we are not, we need to keep comparing apples to apples, right? Okay, see? And now we are running this almost at 3000 frequency, megahertz, on the GPU clock. And as you can see, the temperatures went a little bit higher, and the drop power, yeah, the drop power, it kept the basically the same. Okay, so 242, 245. You have spikes sometimes to 250 perhaps, but as you can see, the temperatures will be around 56, exactly 56. And that was because I was running the fan speed at 30. Now it's at 50. It's already recovering the temperature. So see, as you can see here, we are drawing very low watts. As you can see, 238, 242. And if you compare it, for example, to AMD, that is something that I need to give to Nvidia 100%. It's because you can see that the Nvidia's cards are much more efficient in regards to draw power and voltage needed. So that's something cool to see. So as you can see, stabilizing, we won FPS, we won on the temperatures, we won on the clock, and we won on the draw power. So you are basically overclocking and undervolting. Okay. Now, with that said, you can also still go here to the memory clock and start, boom, 1500. And let's see if we keep going up on the FPS. Did you see? 128, 126, 128, 129, 128. Let's see. Let me remove it. 125, 124, 120. See? So if we go here, now let's see. 131. Okay, 131, 28. Same temperature, a little bit more draw power, but 243, 250 in the spike. But as you can see, look, you don't lose almost. I mean, you don't lose. No, you just gain performance. You don't have nothing to lose here. Why wouldn't I be overclocking plus undervolting my card? Why? Why wouldn't I? It's my question. You can lose performance by overextend on the memory clock on some cards. Okay, let's see how it goes here. 3000. You can see that you are jumping for until 134. We were able to get 134, but it keeps on the same more or less 130, 133. See, okay, so basically that's good. We can push it perhaps a little bit more on the frequency. But let's see. So it's 130, I would say 132, 130, 132, 130, 132. Let's put 0. Let's insert 0. See the difference? 6 FPS, 6, 7 FPS. So as you can see, taking that plus the the curve by undervolting a little bit more if you want, you just have to gain. I wouldn't not overclock, to be honest, and undervolt. If we go to the curve limit again, okay, we can, for example, we were at the 995. We can go perhaps nine 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 990, yeah, 990. Shift left click on the mouse, almost to 3000. Okay, there, 3002. Now shift again, select the rest, the next point, which is 995. You push it down and confirm. Now let's see. Okay, as you can see, again, the temperature is lower, the drop power is lower, and the FPS are still increasing. See how you undervolt and underclock and overclock. Basically, this is an undervolting and overclock. So as you can see, we are almost at 3000 megahertz of frequency on the GPU. 53 temperatures, very good. 237 to 240. Okay, and now if we do 125, let's do 2500. There you go. 130, 5 FPS. Let's push it to the limit. See, I'm not gaining that much performance right now. 132, 134 again. It's okay. It remains now above 131, 132, 133. Okay, above 130. That's good. That's good. The drop power again 250, 54 degrees. So nothing special. It kept the same temperature. 2900, almost 3000. So what we can do now is, for example, go to the curve editor again and perhaps go to the 985. Let's see how it goes if we can push it a little bit. Better temperatures, 3002. Again, shift, left click, down. Yes. See how it goes. Don't forget that we are going very, very slow. Okay. See, almost I saw there 128. See, 128. Okay, let's do this. 128. See, 118, 128, 10 FPS. 10 FPS, 234 watts, a little bit less. The temperatures are basically the same, and the frequency is much lower. So, as you can see, you can win free performance with any restrictions on the temperature and the frequency and what's usage, so because you will not pay the bill at the end of the month a lot more just because you are using more 20 watts. Sometimes even is not even that 20 mark, but 15, so I don't see why not. So you can go until we crash. For example, I'm just going down on the voltage and keeping the same frequency. Okay, for example, 975 to 3000. See here. Now let's do this again. Shift. Okay. So we are not winning anything now, basically, but we are keeping a lot of what? Yeah, the draw power is okay. This is very good because the draw power is 230. See, 230, 53 degrees, almost 3000 frequency, 126. And now, if you go here and do, for example, see, 130. We are already at 131. 52 degrees again, 240, better than before. And we are at 131, 130, 131. So from 118, I think it's very good actually, very good. Let's go now. And again, don't forget that you need always to check these, not only on Evan, but you need also to check on the game, because we can always push more on the stress test, because that, at least for me, that is my experience so far. I'm always able to push it more on the stress test than in game. And when I'm talking in game and I'm showing you some clips from some games, um, I'm just showing you to show you the performance that you can gain actually. Okay, because I test those and I can run the entire day, and that will not crash 100% with those settings. Okay, so it's up to you, very much up to you. Okay, let's now, for example, restart these, and now to curve editor again and go, instead of 975. No, actually we can go 985, 975. We were at 975, I believe. Instead of 3000, we go for 3010. We select the rest, 1985 down. Yes. Let's see. Let's see how it goes. More stable FPS. More stable FPS actually. The frequency doesn't go below that. Good, good, solid. 233 drop hour, 53 degrees, 127 and 28. Let's go on the memory. Can we achieve 131? 32, 32, 34. Yep. Yep. So as you can see, we can even try to go, actually. We are not gaining a lot more now, so we can be a little bit more drastic. 975 to, not sure if this will handle it. Here, here. All right, we are at, see, 3100, 230 again, watts, 53 degrees, 126, and now very good, much more stable, a lot of more time above 130, 131, 33. Okay, let's see if we can go. I know, I know for a fact that I can't go much higher than 3200 now on my card. Okay, because I already extensively test this one, but but just for you to see that you really can overclock and undervolt without damaging your card. Okay, you don't need to go crazy. But if you do it like this, very methodic, as you can see here, the result 133, 135, 136, 137, 138. Okay, almost 140, almost 140 FPS here. And now if we do this, 140, it's basically 20 FPS more. 20 FPS more. So yeah, I think it I was ever already, at least I believe that I was already able to transfer you the knowledge on how to undervolt and overclock, because I do a lot of nonsense and a lot of complication, and oh my god, you need to do this, and it's very simple. It's very simple. Just go baby steps, slow, and start building, building, building. If you find it here, if you crash it, you know the limits. Go back again and try to understand the draw versus temperatures versus clock and FPS gains, because imagine, oh, but I can push it really a little bit. It's not 100% stable, but I win like 3 FPS or 2 FPS. For me, it's not worth it. I want it 100% stable, and I prefer to lose those 2-3 FPS. Okay, so it's up to you, up to your card. But this is how you overclock and undervolt. And now let's jump to the overview of my my showcase on my overclocks. And that status that I inserted there is like a general one, because I know for a fact that will work almost in 100% of the cards, the videos that you are about to see. So basically, take a look, see if you like it, and we will talk in the end. Thank you, and let's go. Right. As you can see here, we are using transformer model DLSS quality mode 4.5 preset M. Okay, so latest DLSS release, which is also it's more FPS than the previous one, 4.0. And now let's jump right into this benchmark. As you can see here, we have differences 52, 63. So basically we have a difference of 10 FPS. A lot of times I would say 6 to 10 FPS. 48, 54. Right. Don't forget as well so basically what I'm using here, and just for you to know, it's a small overclock. As you can see, it's a normal preset. Most likely this will work with every card that you have from Nvidia, do not forget that. And so you can copy, but I would advise you to check the previous steps on how to overclock, and undervolting would help much more. Would help much more according to your card, because it will depend on your card. Now we are doing this also in Dogtown, which is one of the heaviest places in Cyberpunk 77. Now I changed a little bit, because here the temperatures go higher, around 60, on the stock performance, because I'm running this at stock. Imagine that you are not using any MSI afterburner, because if you're not overclocking and undervolting, normally is what you do. And if you don't touch the card, it simply goes automatically and increase and decrease automatically. So as you can see, the temperatures are much higher, 60, and comparing it to 55 and overclocked. Okay, so again, this is just a small overclock. Again, you can understand how to overclock and undervolt, because it depends on each GPU. Okay, so the difference can get much bigger. I could do bigger the difference testing this, however I didn't, because I just wanted to put a preset that you could most likely use without any problem. Now here on Battlefield, as you can see, we have almost sometimes 20 FPS difference. I'm using frame generation. Probably if I was not using frame generation, it would be a little bit lower, I believe, because it scales. But again, you just need to see the temperatures, the overclock, and the draw power. As you can see, you have much more to gain by overclocking and undervolting the GPU. Again, you can see how to do that if you go back in the video. Okay, but yeah, very easy. Now we are testing the Horizon Forbidden West. Okay, no frame generation here, nothing. You can see that the difference is more or less 6 to 10 FPS sometimes. It's a lot, because this is not raw performance, because we are upscaling it, but I would say in our days it's almost, we need to embrace, right, the upscaling. So that's why I like to show several games, because it can difference from game to game. But yeah, so you can see the temperatures are much higher, 10 degrees. So even just for the temperatures and the drop power, as you can see, it's much better to do an overclock and undervolt. Also, it's again the same preset. It will be the same preset for all of them. It's just for showing purposes. You can use this preset most likely in your card, it will not fail. However, if you want to understand how to overclock and undervolt, you can take a look back in this video and understand how to do so. Here we see a very big difference. We see a few stutters on the stock performance versus the overclock performance, which is very good, because it means that the overclock really increases your low lows, which is very interesting to see as well. It keeps your experience much smoother. And yeah, sometimes we have more than 10 FPS difference, which is a big increase, okay, a big increase. And again, this is just a normal overclock and undervolting. So imagine if I was to insert this, if I was to do this like much heavier overclock and undervolt, more tuned, I would get even more performance most likely, okay, or at least less temperatures. We can see here sometimes 10 degrees difference in overclock, so it's a lot. Now going to Red Dead Redemption, yeah, we can see here sometimes it's 8, 5, 10. Again, I'm using this preset, so just keep in mind that we are using a stock performance versus a small overclock. So again, if you want to understand how to even increase more this difference depending on your GPU, okay, I cannot guarantee it will work smooth and you will get a lot of more performance in your GPU, because it will depend GPU to GPU. But again, if you want to understand your limitations, you can take a look to the previous a few minutes before these tests, and you can understand how to overclock and how to undervolt. But yeah, so as you can see, for me it's much worth it. Temperatures are better, drop power is basically the same, and you get more performance. All right, so after after testing across like 5 different games, actually I did test more, but I didn't want to insert it on the video because it would get too extensive, too long, too many number, probably most of the people will not like it. And so I love it. That's because I'm doing it and taking also into consideration that I have an outside work and 2 daughters, wife, everything, dog to take out to the street, everything that you get with a busy life. I took like 1 week, okay, 1 week to do this video, okay. And yeah, I mean, we can, after spending many hours validating the settings, we can finally draw some clear conclusions about this overclock preset for the RTX 5080. First of all, this preset should work around 95% of the RTX 5080 GPUs, okay? Also, another thing that I would like to mention is, of course, every GPU is different, okay, due to silicon variance, but the process you learn here can be applied to almost any GPU, okay? Nvidia, I will do the AMD later, okay? Whether it's another 5080 or a different Nvidia card, okay? You can either apply a simple overclock or combine overclocking with undervolting for even better efficiency, okay? Looking at the real world results, that's why I like this. I don't like only doing this in the back end and comparing it to other person's results on 3D Mark or Aion, you know. I do like to use those tools, but not to compare to my own overclock. So you do your own. But yeah, comparing it to real world results in games like Cyberpunk, Battlefield 6, Horizon Forbidden West, Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, and the Red Dead Redemption 2. The most important improvement is consistency. Okay, consistency. The low lows are higher, which means the overall frame pacing is better, and the chances of stutters are significantly reduced. Okay, I'm not saying that you will not gonna ever have a stutter, because it depends on the game. Let me tell you. What was the Oblivion Remastered? Okay, Oblivion Remastered is something special. Okay, so but the stutters are significantly reduced. Okay, and even when average FPS, okay, improvements vary between games, the experience feels smoother because the minimum performance is stronger, and that is what a lot of people think it looks that they are missing that part. Okay, and also another interesting result is the temperature behavior. Okay, in several of the tests, temperature actually improved while overclocking, which shows that a well-tuned voltage and frequency, okay, curve can sometimes make the GPU run more efficiently than stock. 100%. Okay, clock speeds are obviously higher, but what is even better is that the power draw remains almost the same. Okay, and so essentially we are getting a noticeable performance, real life, real game, in-game performance. Okay, I like to mention that increase with nearly identical power consumption. So why wouldn't I overclock? That is exactly the kind of overclock we want, right? So real performance gains without sacrificing efficiency. I mean, this for me is the best worlds, the best of the two worlds. I mean, now performance scaling will never be identical in every game. Okay, we check that, for example, on the Horizon Forbidden West. Okay, is not the same. And yeah, some engines benefit more from GPU frequency, while others scale less. You know, like that one that I just mentioned. But across all the titles test here, the overclock still delivered better performance compared to stock. So that is a fact. It's not, oh, but I think, oh, but I think you should go. No, it's not you think, it's a fact. So, and sometimes that small overclock can be the difference for me between hovering around 55 to 58 FPS, okay, and maintain a consistent 60 FPS plus experience, which is the ideal in my own perspective as a gamer. Sorry, that difference might seem small on a paper, okay, but in practice, it can completely change how smooth a game feels. Okay, you can definitely feel it, not through a YouTube video for sure. Also want to point out that this preset was tested for many hours, okay, and before being shown here, I personally run multiple gaming sessions without a single crash. Okay, so for my card, it's completely stable. Of course, some GPUs might have more room to overclock, more overclock headroom. Sorry, some GPUs might have lower headroom for overclocking. Okay, while you notice that or not on your GPU, there is nothing that you can do on that. Okay, sometimes it's just lucky. Okay, luck. I mean, sorry. So that's normal. It depends on the silicon quality for each chip. Okay, if you are testing your own overclock, the best method is simple. Just play a game for at least 30 minutes. Okay, that is my way of doing it. First, I test it on the 3D Mark, Aion, and afterwards on the game 30 minutes at least. On one game, afterwards I jump to another game, because, for example, with AMD card that I have there, my wife's card, the 9070 XT Nitro Plus, I can overclock so well. I can get 3400 overclock clock speed on the clock speed. Sorry, in Forbidden Horizon. And for example, if I use the same preset overclock on that game and I jump, for example, to Cyberpunk, I crash on Cyberpunk. So it's good that you test several games, not just one. The way you are starting testing the GPU while actually enjoying the game instead of running synthetic benchmarks all the time, I think it's very cool. And you can still enjoy it, while you are doing the tests. And every GPU again is different, every system is different, but hopefully this video helped you demonstrate how easy it can be to gain real performance, okay, from a GPU with just a few tweaks. Just a few tweaks, come on. And in the future, I will also make a full tutorial showing the same overclocking approach on AMD GPUs, okay? So if this video helped you, consider subscribing to the channel for more benchmarks. Let's see if we can reach to 100 subscribers. Let's aim for the 500, okay? GPU tuning guides and real-world performance testing. I'm showing raw content and not just focusing on the numbers. Not specific to this, okay? I was forced to show you numbers on this video, but yeah, you are just seeing a perspective of a gamer and a person that likes to play games, okay, basically. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you.